मतलब ये स्वर्ग है। कोई स्वर्ग कोई नर्क नहीं होता है सर। यहाँ पे सभी लोग आते हैं। एक्सट्रैक्शन कंप्लीट। मैं प्रहस्त पोस्ट डेथ सर्विसेज का राक्षस आपका पुष्पक 634A में स्वागत करता हूं। अभी आप नेक्स्ट लाइफ में ट्रांजिशन के लिए तैयार हैं। आप मेरे साथ आ सकते हैं।
Welcome, world. Welcome, internet fans. Hope everyone is doing wonderful today. This is the Miami International Science Fiction Film Festival. And what you see is what you get. With me today is Praveen Yalamanchi. And we've got a surprise for you today. Holy smokes. What you just watched was the trailer for a absolutely magnificent film called Cargo. And we here at MCFI, Sci-Fi Miami, were so put back, by receiving this film. We were one of the few festivals to receive this film. And it blew us away when we first saw this, just an absolutely fantastic, amazing film. And I can tell you, every so often, the festival gets these gems. And we feel so honored that we get gems like this, and our fans get this rare opportunity to watch something so creative and so different. It's just a joy. Cargo is one of those films. And we're so fortunate in so many ways. Not only is it just a good film, but it comes from part of the world that you don't see a lot of science fiction. That's one of the other reasons why we were so put back. And we're giving it as much as we can. We gave it as much as we could. In fact, this film won Best Sci-Fi Feature, plus many other awards. So today we're going to be talking a lot about Cargo. We have some special guests who will be joining us. We have the director, Arati Kadav, as well as one of the cast members, Nandu Madhav. He was one of the cast that, if you remember, the gentleman who was on the TV monitor that was addressing the crew. He's going to be joining us today too. So we're going to have a blast today. And Prav is joining us. Prav was one of the team. We've got some other folks coming in today as well. That's going to be joining the team here. So how are you doing, Prav? What's happening?
Good. I got my my buddy here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that guy looks familiar.
Well, so he's obviously the straight man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the comedian. So I think you posted this as a comedy, so we have to come up with some jokes.
Yeah, well, it's a feel-good film. It's a feel-good film, So anything that makes you feel good, I'm gonna push it.
Yeah, it was actually there was a lot of pretty hilarious scenes, especially if you're familiar with ancient Indian mythology. There's a lot going on. So I mean, we'll talk to the obviously the actor and director about it, but just to fill the audience in, who've watched it already, I think perhaps we should have told people to go to Wikipedia and do or a simple search about Indian myths, about gods and demons, and but I'm sure people got it from the context as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the film itself, is about basically ancient India, but set in space. So it's pretty wild and interesting. And then the comedy about everyone understands who's from India or grew up in India, even spent time as a tourist in India, about how India works, right? People get stuff done despite bureaucracy. It's like basically the Indian Rail Bureau running a space program, which is pretty entertaining in itself. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I think on the live stream today, we have a lot of filmmakers from the Indian American community. From
Sure.
welcome everyone from the Indian International Film Festival, Los Angeles, and from around the world. A lot of actors, writers, and aspiring filmmakers. And those of you, who missed our 2020 Miami Science Fiction Film Festival, we had a few interviews with Harati, and they're on YouTube and Twitter, everywhere. You can find them. I just retweeted it today as well, where she talks about her journey as a filmmaker, because she actually used to be an engineer for Microsoft in Seattle. And then and she moved back to India, went to film school, and changed everything about, reinvented herself. I'm sure a lot of people who her friends from Microsoft probably here watching as well. So we're all proud of her. And then we'll get updates, from her interview from April, when she talked about her journey from being an engineer to a filmmaker. And also, last time we didn't have an actor, so now we have an actor. So we'll talk about the actual craft as well tonight. So I know there's a lot of actors on the call as well today. So we'll talk about how the acting and directing, the actual creative process went, which we didn't get into as much in April.
Well, I'm very interested. I definitely bring them in. That'd be great. I'm also interested in continuing that conversation about the different gods. I admit that I'm very ignorant to Indian mythology. I know it's very rich. It's a big place, 1 billion plus people there. There's a lot going on. So, this movie and the context of it was very, very different for me. And I'm sure it'll be for a lot of people in North America that see it. But if you can definitely carry some of that part of the discussion, that'd be fantastic, because I would like to learn a little more about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know more than they realize, because a lot of Indian culture has been globalized. Like, obviously, you know about yoga and basmati rice type things, but there's a lot of other things which might not be as obvious, and things that people think of as Greek myths, are actually mislabeled. Like, mythology is mythology, but sometimes, like in stories, you don't know which country the mythology came from. It just seems like it's a Greek myth that's actually from India or China or some other Eastern country as well. So yeah, we'll definitely get into that, and I think for filmmakers, it'll give them new material to write about, put into their screenplays as well tonight.
That's pretty neat. I think that's, like I said, to me, it's very interesting, this whole addition of having gods, and the people themselves are these demons or these other beings that are overseeing and monitoring everybody on Earth.
Yeah, maybe we can start playing the trailers after our favorite filmmaker, Justine, introduces herself.
Yeah.
Am I on? Are we live? Hi.
Yeah, yes, we're live. Hey, Justine, how you doing?
Good to see you guys again.
Good.
And good to see you for this wonderful, wonderful event. I'm just such a big new fan of this film. It's incredible.
When did you watch the film?
I watched it last night, and I watched it again today.
Look at that, twice.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and it's so beautiful. We talked on the phone, Troy, and like you said, I was moved to tears by it. It was just so moving and beautiful. The message, the themes, not to mention how awesome, they did such a great job on all the sci-fi of it all.
Yeah, and I think Arati, the director, would enjoy your film as well if you want to introduce it, because Arati is a engineer from Microsoft.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, it's really good to get to know what she's up to and see that this is her first feature.
It's definitely not her first film.
Not film, but feature.
The feature.
Yeah.
According to IMDb, unless there's stuff not listed on her IMDb. Well, it looks like there's some shorts.
She's coming.
It's
Um,
incredible.
and where are you beaming in from, Justine?
From Vancouver, Canada.
Vancouver. Okay. Vancouver.
Hollywood North.
How's the weather up there?
Today it's smoky. I think we're getting the
Really?
wildfires smoke from Washington.
How close?
Uh,
How close to the fires?
well, I mean, Washington, it's a 5-hour drive south, but
Okay.
we're getting a lot of smoke. I think we've got a little fire in our own region as well, but I mean, it's just on fire down there. But it's warm. We're having a really beautiful end of summer. It's really hot here.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah. How's my volume, guys? Is my volume okay?
It's good. How's mine?
Okay. Yeah, you're good too.
Great.
Okay, great. So you were going into the detail on the cultural aspect of this problem.
Yeah. So you know what? To put it in context, that if you think about the Greek myths, the Greek myths a lot of times are about individuals, right? Like Odysseus and other heroes. There is that in India as well, but in India, I think there's a lot of more about like groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's more similar to like the Troy and things like that. But
Right.
I guess it is similar from that point of view. So, but then there's common themes that go through a lot of stories. So the demons are called Rakshasa, and that's kind of like what this movie's about. It's basically if the demons, we say demons, but it's not the same context per se. As far as like, it's just the dark side, but not necessarily completely like what you think as evil in Western culture.
Yeah.
Good. Just like death is there, but death doesn't necessarily be evil. It's just part of existence, right? So the story is about if the demons had their civilization and advanced, million or very far into the future, or not. I don't know how far this actually had the future, but they actually had a space program, right? So space program run by demons, and then demons themselves actually have their own role to play in the whole grand circle of life. And one of them is like in Western culture, the boat person that takes the souls from after they pass to the afterlife, right? In this case, that's what these demons are doing. They're the people who are ferrying the souls of the recently passed, but in this case, instead of using a rowboat, they're using a spaceship, which is interesting in itself. And then adding to that, not contemporary, but more like 1950s or 60s style Indian bureaucracy, like the old India, which is like entertaining in itself, is combining Indian myths with like more pseudo-modern before Indian reform bureaucracy, and just the common concepts of like your parents want you to grow up to be successful in Eastern culture. How does someone advance in their career in the demon space program, right? So there's a lot of that. So basically, people these are actually jobs also that the demons have. But look, that's the main portion. But then obviously there's a lot of side characters, which I find actually very, very entertaining. Which no spoilers, so we'll let Arati do that, so we don't get in trouble for spoilers.
Look who's here!
Hi guys. Thank you so much for saying such lovely.
Congratulations!
Thank you so much. Oh gosh, you guys made my.
Congratulations!
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Congratulations, young lady.
No, thank you so much. It's the support and kindness of yours, and thank you, Justin. I heard what you said about the film. Actually, whenever someone says that they got emotional, I get emotional. So I was like, oh gosh. And we had a time mix-up. I thought we were at 7:30 India time, but it's actually right to 6:30 in the morning. So I was like, okay, I'm getting ready, but I was like getting emotional at the same time.
It's tough enough just trying to deal with it by an hour-to-hour basis. But when you told me the time difference was what, 10 and a half hours different? I think that's what you said.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all over right now. Yeah.
Half hours is a wrench in the works,
Yeah.
Folks. So don't worry about it. We're all here, and hopefully folks can join us. And,
Yes.
But we're so happy that you joined us. I feel first of all, I'm just honored that we had this masterpiece submitted to the festival. That by itself is an honor. to have such a great film, and we're standing side by side with South by Southwest. You know, because you remember the time that the festival was going on and all of this was happening, and South by Southwest said, you know, who's going to get the world premiere? I gotta let you guys gotta let you guys roll with it. Gotta let you guys roll with it.
Mhm.
You know, and you had that with South by Southwest, and then you were picked up by Netflix. So I don't want to give it all away. I don't want to give it all away. But so let's just start real quick. Real quick.
First of all, thank you so much, because the warmth I've received from your festival has always been so beautiful, and I wish this is a lifelong partnership for us, because I still remember the phone call you made when you selected our film for your festival, and it just made my morning, because I'll tell you, I'm the writer director and also one of the producers, and before making Cargo, I've had a very long struggle of 7 years. The reason I decided to make Cargo was because those were the resources available to me. I had a studio available to me. That's about it, and that's how I wrote the story, because I was like, okay, I'm not being able to make the stories I want to tell. So let me just write something which is in my voice, based on the resources I have, and not compromise on science fiction, because actually in India there is no, science fiction is so popular world over, but in India there is no precedence for science fiction, so no producers want to back it in general, and nobody wants to support it. They're too scared to touch it. And so for me the journey was very long. Like, we eventually had co-producers in the film, and like very strong producing partners, but still it was a very low budget film. Like, we were hacking our way through this, so it was generally a lot of weight on me. And after we made the film, we didn't know what to do, because we were all very new, like, how to get a distribution, will the theaters take it? And then
Well, don't give it all away at once now. Don't give it to us all at once now. we can tell you're still excited from this.
It's awesome. So, Troy, can we play the trailer for the people who have?
Let's.
Oh yeah, play the trailer.
It's cool. Hold on, here we go.
मतलब ये स्वर्ग है, कोई स्वर्ग कोई नर्क नहीं होता है सर, यहाँ पे सभी लोग आते हैं। Extraction complete. मैं प्रहस्त पोस्ट डेथ सर्विसेज का राक्षस आपका पुष्पक 634 में स्वागत करता हूं। अभी आप नेक्स्ट लाइफ में ट्रांजिशन के लिए तैयार हैं, आप मेरे साथ आ सकते हैं।
Hey. Real cool. Can you, Arati, first of all, there's so many things I want to ask, but tell us a little bit about the journey of when you finally knew you were going to make the film. When you finally knew you were going to make the film, what was that like when you knew you were going to produce this film? When this film was coming together and your dates were set and the first day of shooting, what was that like?
So I have actually lovely video from the first day of the shoot, because we had so the set took around 15 to 18 days to get built. So, I used to be on the set every day. In fact, I remember a day, and I was in love with our set, because it was just, everything in the set is put with so much care that I even told my, it was tough for my production designer also, given the budget, like, So, but I told him, like, I think this is the best set in the world, like, because I was emotionally so attached to the set. So the day of the shoot, it was 1st Jan 2018 was the first day of the shoot, and the call time was 8 a.m. But I was so excited. I reached there 7 a.m. and the set was built in my film school, because I managed to convince my film school people that, like, please help me, because of that the film was coming together actually. So So I could like bully my way through in like, oh, I have to go in, I have to go in. Woke up the watchman that I need to get in. So 7 a.m. I switched on all the lights of the set and I was there for some time. So I was like just overwhelmed. Like even now when I'm talking, I was like, and then yeah, so it was a very beautiful morning because yeah, it was a tough journey to see that morning. So yeah, and I just silently prayed that like let everything be perfect. Like I just prayed for like yeah, and yeah, I mean, I have a lovely video because I had a bird. Like there's a metallic bird which the female character was supposed to use in the film to show that these are the toys I'm getting. And so I actually took a video of that bird flying through the set, and I have that very precious video with me. And after that, I lost the bird, so we couldn't take the shot. So, yeah, but it was the most emotional moment for me that just to see that okay, we have arrived and we are shooting it. So, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Awesome. Oh, look!
Yay!
Look who's here. Mr. Mad, is it correct? Madhav, I think you're muted. You're muted right now, so you're gonna have to adjust your microphone. I just you're currently muted. Okay, there you go. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. It's Madhav. Nandu?
Madhav.
Nandu Madhav. Man, let me tell you, man, your performance was stellar.
Totally.
Thank you.
It was so
Totally.
Just a second.
Yeah, this person that's speaking to the crew from the monitor, and you just focus on this one little monitor, and he's being a very nice, very compassionate. He's almost like the family of the crew. It was such a fantastic. He was the voice from Earth.
Yes, he was the voice of Earth.
There's a message behind this. I haven't gotten it yet, but there's a message behind this. I love the performance. Excellent, Nandu. Excellent performance.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and then before you guys got on the call or on the stream today, we were talking about, some of the code time shifts, right? Where we're talking about ancient India or mythology. We're talking about 1950s, 1960s India bureaucracy, and then and in future India too, but all existing at the same time. And Nandu really pulled it off as like an amazing job to make it feel like an ancient Raksha, who's a benevolent bureaucrat, but also in the future. So dichotomy there. So it'd be interesting to ask you or how you got into character.
One day, just Aarti called me and she told that she is making one film, and she came at my place and she told that we're doing sci-fi film. Actually, each and every actor want to do different type of films, different type genres, and this kind of genre I never acted. So I liked her concept, and she told that you are the man on land agent after the death transition service. So that was a new for me, and I'm from Rakshas party or God's party. I don't know. After that, when we go on set, and then I find out that we are from the Rakshas party, Devil's party, and each devil have some power. And actually, Aarti completed my dream, because from childhood I want to power to disappear, and same power I have in this character and this film. I disappear 86.75%. 10 to 15% it remains, but that kind of character is very different, and each character have different powers, like Prahasta and Yushki. So actually, for this character, we never met. Means Vikrant or Shweta. And we shooted this my portion. because Shweta and Macy's portion was shooted previously, and after that my portion was shooted, so I get some benefits. I saw some their shots, and just to make believe, I give my performance. Because of that, my performance enhanced because I know what they are doing there, and that kind I try to portray my character, and mainly Aarti is such a director who is calm, quiet, and definite about her uh, point or her view about that character, about that situation, about the film. So जो कुछ किया है, that is because of Aarti and whole team.
So the audience tonight, we have a mixed audience, right? Obviously, people from India and the people from around the world, because this was a global release. So one of the things we talked about is maybe talking about your journey as an actor, filmmaker, especially a lot of Indian American filmmakers on the screen right now from the Indian International Film Festival in Los Angeles. I'm sure they'd be interested in hearing your process as an actor and a director. And the other is there's the general fans who just saw it on Netflix, and so we were talking about how if people needed the background, the context of Indian mythology to understand the movie, and while you're speaking about superpower or powers, right? I'm wondering if some audience who didn't necessarily understand the mythology or not from India or don't know about it, if they thought it was a superhero movie. That's interesting to have someone on who just randomly found it on Netflix.
I just wanted to add one thing in the introduction of Nandu Madhavji. He's a very veteran Marathi actor. So India has a lot of regions, and he belongs to Maharashtra. And he's a very senior actor, and he had done a lead film called Harishchandraji Factory, which was India's entry to Oscars, where he played the first guy in India. So Harishchandraji was the person who invented, who brought cinema to India. So he played the lead. He played the person who brought cinema to India. And he played it with so much joy of inventing something new, and I connected with that emotion so much when I saw the film. And I wanted him, but I was very scared whether such a senior person will do a role like this, because he enjoys a lot of fan in his ecosystem. So he would not be open to doing a role which he might feel is small for him. But for me, it was one of the most crucial roles, because if you see every sci-fi film, whether it's Moon or 2001 Space Odyssey, there's a computer which directs the crew. But I thought for Indian sci-fi, the person directing the crew is like the typical Indian man who also feels that he's a little bit stuck in his job. Like, it's not that he's passionate and excited. So I wanted something who we could feel love and affection for, who could also remind us of traces of our own father, because we feel that our fathers are always stuck in this job for life, so I wanted that, that's why I really wanted him. And a very important thing Nandu Madhavji forgot to tell us, I mean, you guys cannot guess that how long did he take to shoot the entire film. So he has 40 pages of sides. I know the day of the shoot, and with all the Vikrant Shweta's dialogues and his dialogues, and he shot the whole thing in one day. To shoot it in one day, to change costume, to remember the lines, to change the tone, at the end of so in India, if you have a lot of respect for someone elder, you feel like touching your feet, and which I've never felt for because I have now different generation. But at the end of the shoot, I actually felt like touching his feet, because I know how he pulled it off, because it's impossible to tell 40 pages worth, even by chief editor said it's not possible, this will take minimum 3 or 4 days. But we didn't have the budgets. We had that professor's room where we shot his corner for one day. So we had to shoot it on a
You
day.
shot Nandu's role in one day, all of those scenes in one day?
Yes.
Yes.
That's incredible.
That happened
That's
because of
incredible.
our all crew members and because of Aarti, because I have to change my costume, I have to change my attitude, I have to change my approach towards the characters. That happens because of Aarti, because each and every, because there are many days gap in that character, in that situation. But Aarti always say, no, now you are very calm, you are very in cool things, and you just deal with characters very simplicity, or sometimes you have to rush, you have to go at home. So what is the approach behind that scene and that situation that happens, and that credit goes to my director and whole crew members. They are always helping me, the cameraman.
This is you right here on the
This is
monitor.
for you, sir. This completely goes to you, sir, because I saw nobody, because we did have other people in the monitor and we had like much smaller. The people who coming in for one scene and we actually gave 5 or 6 hours to you, to them, and you did everything in one day. So I know.
What an
Yeah.
accomplishment. That's
So,
awesome.
Incredible.
since you only had one day for all these lines, and there's no, I assume, no reshoots since he's so busy. I guess the process is, Nandu had the other scenes from the other actors in front of him, and he could react to them. But then in editing, did you have a lot more footage of Nandu than the other actors, so you could mix and match, or did the other actors have to reshoot based upon which scenes of Nandu you decided for the final cut? Like, how did it actually work to have one actor who had basically a little bit more a different way of acting compared to the others?
No, actually, so we shot it very precisely. So we exactly shot what we needed for the monitor. And actually, even as he said, so no, I think only 50% of scenes we played out for him. Like, rest we couldn't, because we were just emerging from the sketch. So we didn't have the proper rushes. We just had recordings of those scenes on the phone so that he knows it. Sometimes we didn't even have the time, So just for the eyeline match, because that was the biggest challenge, that he should not be looking somewhere else. Like, that was the thing that kept me awake the whole night before the shoot, because it was the first time I was shooting something like this. So I was like, what if, the eyeline doesn't match, like, when you're shooting synchronously, or the pace doesn't match.
He had to break the rule. He had to look in the camera all the time.
Yeah, so that's what we decided. Like, yeah, look in the camera, but still his body language shifts a little bit based on the movement. Like, even for example in this, it should not look that, what if he was leaning on the other direction, it would have looked off. So he was little conscious of his body language. So that little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I'm seeing it right now. I got the YouTube stream up here, and I got
Yeah.
here. But then when the stream changes, right, the box is moving. My eyes,
Even I
can see how.
even I don't know. I'm not occupying whole screen on theater. I'm in a monitor. I don't know. I always make a joke, and apart joke always tell to Aarti कि आपने मुझे बताया ना, you don't tell me यार, I'm in a monitor. I'm not in a big screen. Always I'm in a monitor. My part is very small. But that approach, that treatment gives good what you call feeling of that story and that space. Because of that, she can just one space and one land space that can differentiate from that treatment.
Yeah.
There are two spaces.
Right.
So in fact, he told me after the shoot that you just took one angle of me. You didn't cover my office. You didn't cover another angle. And I was like, am I tricking him? Like, was I not clear? I was like, worried that I hope he should not feel cheated. Like, but yeah. Like,
So I wonder what, Justine, what's your take of the story? And I mean, delete everything I told you before, coming from.
Sure.
I feel in mythology or maybe you didn't hear that part. I think you can.
I caught some of it. I mean, to be honest, I didn't do any research ahead of time except having a little chat with Troy. So I hadn't read any reviews. I hadn't done anything. So I just watched it. Cool.
Perfect. Yeah. So how does the general public in non-India are going to view this? You're everyman now, or everyone.
The pressure. Well, I love sci-fi, and I love the first of all, the sets. Stylistically, it was just such a delight. The old television set, I think I had one of those when I was a kid. It was so wonderful, and the little it prints out the names of the souls that are arriving, the people. It's just a little calculator. It's amazing. I love that. But so then I got into the story, and once it started becoming clear what the theme was, I was just thrilled, because what an interesting way to frame this type of story, this type of mythology or religious, folklore or lore in your culture. It was absolutely beautiful to see it put this way, and it was completely original. I love the way it was handled. I love the way the actors played it. It was funny. It was moving. There were some really big things that made me laugh out loud, particularly when "What is your superpower?" I can disappear by 83.76% or something. And that's the superpower. And then, well, why only by that much? Because nobody can disappear completely, ma'am. It's impossible to disappear completely. And I just thought that really encapsulated for me what that means about the reincarnation and the souls traveling through and continuing on to another life. That just put it all into clear focus for me in that one line. And it made me laugh out loud. Just was so delighted. What else? I would love to know who made that song, Forget Me Not. It's so catchy.
The soundtrack was awesome. The closing song.
Yeah, that appears. I love it. As the kids would say, it's a bop.
In the cinema, you see with that song. It just compares with Star Wars or some other big budget film. Who created that song?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's a story behind. First of all, thank you, Justin. You're the first one to point out about him disappearing, having that philosophical meaning there, because that was very important for me, and nobody has caught it except you. So I, first of all, definitely a very intelligent mind, like to catch it, or at least you connected with me, and that's very beautiful for me. Like that you got that.
It gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. And as far as the song Forget Me, so by the time I reached the song, like that was towards the end of the post-production, we were completely out of budget. So I had zero budget for the song, and I was like, oh my god, and how do I make a song? So there's a friend of mine, she's a director actually, and her film Odds is already on Netflix. So she used to put a lot of Insta stories of her singing for her movie, and her music director composing it. So I was like, they're composing so many songs, so they feel maybe they'll help me out, because my music director, he has done a great job of the soundtrack, but he's not a song person. And especially this was my reference for this was a very 80s Korean pop. So I had a reference song for this, and I wanted someone peppy Korean pop like that for my film. So I reached out to her, and then we wrote, so she was the one who actually did everything. She wrote the song, she sang the song, and it's in a very small studio, like in one room in someone's house is where we shot, we recorded the song, not even in a proper studio. And and then the music director composer. So Sagar Desai is the name of the music director who did the song. And Megha Ramaswamy is the singer, songwriter, and the force behind the song. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah.
So once again, it's such a special moment to have you guys with us. You're on the other side of the planet, across not only the Atlantic, literally the other side of the planet, and we're so thankful that you're here. But tell us what's been happening this past week. The movie debuted on Netflix worldwide, right? That's a worldwide release.
Yes.
So it's everywhere.
Incredible.
Yeah. This is a first for me, CP. This is a first.
Yeah, this is first. And it has right now, it's just 3 days in India, but it has blown over in India. It's number one in India, which is everybody in India is watching it. And I'm inundated with interviews. I'm inundated with videos. There's so many Indians. I think there are at least 20 to 25 videos made on the film where people are analyzing the film. Some people and I'm getting extreme reactions for sure, but people who are loving the film are fighting for film. when someone says that, hey, this is, the place, then someone says, oh yeah, you don't know anything. Like, so the people championing the film in such a beautiful way. We are so touched, and this is the first time I have had a wide release. And this is the first sci-fi film, so nobody believed that sci-fi could work in India. So we did make a difference, for Indian audience, because now everybody is like saying, "Oh, now we are making sci-fi." So which is very, I mean, I feel very happy that we are trying to change the landscape also in a way. So we're very happy.
You made a big difference in people's lives when you came in April for the film festival. Like I sent you on Twitter that meetup that someone started in I think San Diego for his own loneliness consultant meetup type thing. So basically, he literally has a phone number, and he'll let you. I mean, he did it for coronavirus lockdown, but he's someone who attended the film festival and got the idea from your character of a loneliness consultant. He even used some of the same phraseology, and I thought it was pretty interesting that he took your movie and tried to do something good in the world with it. I guess you guys preceded this, right? Nandu was the previous Zoom director, and now we're all Zoom people.
Nando, I've got a question for you. What do you think's going to happen now with the wide appeal of this science fiction film? What do you think's going to happen?
For me,
to Nandu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nandu.
What do you think, since this film has such wide appeal and is doing so well in India, what do you think professionally is going to happen to the community in India?
It's a good thing because this kind of genre, Aarti tell that sci-fi films are not making in India. Producers and directors not thinking about that genre, and after many decades, I think kabhi kuch bana tha, I don't know, but this kind of a particular perfect attempt was made by Aarti, and because of that, people are very excited and they are like this genre and this kind of story. And it's totally based on Indian culture, Indian nature, and Indian characters. So people like this kind of film, and I think many producers after this film they will make a sci-fi film. Maybe.
Yeah, I have the same feeling, and we're waiting. We're waiting for it. Let me also say this one thing. And I don't want to give away any spoilers because, folks, you've got to see the film. Okay, I don't want to give away spoilers, but there were just so many subplots. You had a lot of subplots, even though we have these principal characters which dominate the movie, but there were these tiny subplots, like the gentleman that had. He had some sort of idea to speak to the public and have his own show, and his life was was a little story about his life. There was another story about some other folks that were in the background with their own little lives, and people would, of course, the cargo coming and being transformed and sent back. What inspired you to do that? What inspired you to create those subplots in Cargo? In particular, the one gentleman who, I don't want to give it away. I want to give all of it away, but it was sort of like a little story about his life, of what he wanted to become, and he's observing all of this in the background. And eventually he ended up in the ship, but I thought that was very, very different because it was totally different from what was going on. I just thought it was very different.
Yeah, I think that comes to one of the themes. Actually, I genuinely believe that, I think because I've had a long struggle trying to do something that is not normal. And, as such, as for women, women passionate about sci-fi, when I would go and pitch my stories, people would not even see me as forget about seeing me as a sci-fi director, they used to not see me even as a director, because I don't fit any standard, I don't fit any mythology of a director, how directors look like. So for me, I always used to feel that you only know 10% of a person when you meet the person, and that's true for each of us, when you meet each other in our lives, there's so much going on in each other's lives that we are totally desensitized to it, like, and that's what is the I feel is a problem of our generation, that we only judge, we are too quick to judge, we are too quick to so I just felt that, like, it's important for me to give value to each of these stories, because I can't just show them as dead cargoes passing. I gradually start touching on small things in their lives as things that drive them. But when it comes to the final character who comes, I wanted to show his entire life cycle, because that's what it is. Because first you saw him as a loneliness detective, sort of like a, also like a hack. It looked like that this guy might just take my money and run away, or might But then when you see more, you see so many layers, that he was a passionate student activist, and he believed a lot more than then he fell in love. So you see so much of his life, and then when he dies, you do feel a tinge, because I remember so many times in the movie when his track was playing, people said, "Oh no, please don't let him die, please don't let him die," and then he dies. So you know, so that is the idea, that we should be open to other people's lives. So the film is little episodic that way, because we try to show everybody, but that's how life is. Like, there's, like, I just wanted the film to be, this is a film about life and death. You're talking about immigration office of the dead people. You have to touch these themes about how we live, because the only, I mean, through death is how we are examining how we are living currently, and how we can probably value and see the beauty of our life and of each other's lives. So that was the whole idea, the philosophy behind having multiple cargoes.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of it. Guys, we'd like to show the trailer one more time. Can we do that?
मतलब ये स्वर्ग है, कोई स्वर्ग कोई नर्क नहीं होता है सर, यहाँ पे सभी लोग आते हैं। एक्सट्रैक्शन कंप्लीट। मैं प्रहस्त पोस्ट डेथ सर्विसेज का राक्षस आपका पुष्पक 634A में स्वागत करता हूं। अभी आप नेक्स्ट लाइफ में ट्रांजिशन के लिए तैयार हैं, आप मेरे साथ आ सकते हैं।
So great.
Yes.
One of the things we got into during your last interview, you did a few interviews in April with us, was your set design. So I think for people who missed that, you just saw it right here, the amazing attention to detail of your costumes, your set, all the little trinkets, and so if you can go into your set design process for the filmmakers and
Beautiful.
on the call, that'd be great.
Yeah, so credit for the set design, obviously my production designer, Mayur Sharma, it goes to him. The idea was like, so my when earlier discussions with him was that actually I'm personally a huge fan of retro sci-fi. Like, I love, the buttons. I like the tactileness of old buttons, and the idea also came outside in the sense, when I was envisioning, the spaceship that you build for your spaceship film is very important for every director. And I was thinking what uniqueness I can give it. Like, and then for me, the spaceship, so because in the story, there are many such spaceships doing that job. I thought that the space is like underwater, and the spaceships are like jellyfishes, like floating there. So I thought maybe the spaceship is like a metallic jellyfish, clunky and old, and like an organism in itself. And that's the brief that goes to the sound design as well, like, So so the inside we thought should be like that. It should be super metallic. And yeah, so it started from there. We built the spaceship in two parts, because we didn't have the budget to build it entirely, in one go. So we built just the rooms of, Shweta, the lead characters, and the central place where the people come in the first part of the spaceship. And the second part, when we built the remaining area where the healing goes on and they walk down the tunnel. And in fact, if anybody watches very carefully, you can see pieces of his room being used in that room. Like, it was completely in fact, my production designer said okay, it was so perfectly, we used everything, like not even one thing was wasted when we moved from this set to the other set, like how perfectly we managed to, use every piece, like, so that, so yeah, it was like that. And we were passionate about colors. So colors was also very important. In fact, I wanted more colors, but we couldn't. Uh, for example, that healing area, I wanted it to be green color because I thought that's the color of the healing, like, But since we were reusing the old one, the painting cost was something we couldn't afford. But I thought the color is also very important because normally spaceships are all white, but I didn't want people to not see variety because it's largely a single location film. So every room I felt should have a color and have a different emotion to it. Like, so that was also the idea. Yeah.
That's great. And Nandi, so one of the things that immediately stands out was, yeah, you play a typical mission control character, but you do it immediately. Anyone who even has the volume on mute can see this is a, culturally a South Asian Indian film. So what did you do as an actor to portray that, yeah, this isn't space, but this is really, India or Indian culture? I mean, it seems like a lot of subtle things you're doing in your acting is not even in dialogue, appears.
Actually, on set there was some instruments and some speaker or like a typewriter on a laptop, and just that was a very small space. Though Aarti just suggested all the time you do with the handle with this laptop or we just with that mic. So to create make believe that I'm approaching to my space persons to via these small things and with all this property. I don't know how it works or not, but just suggestions of my directors, I done that things.
Well, I think you did something. You might not be able to articulate it, but it's a
Yes.
performance.
Yeah. No, he did a lot of things. In fact, like there was so much humor he was bringing it because, again, as I said, we came to him after we had shot the spaceship. So we had actually 15 days of night shoot, and his shoot was the first day of turnaround. And because it was turnaround, most of us hadn't slept also, like, because the body clock was in that. And but because he was acting so well, I think we were alive. Otherwise, we would have died, like, that day. He was so good in this. So, and I think he brought a lot of nuances. For example, if he says he has to go, he picks up his helmet. It consciously plans that he's not even rich enough to have a car. He's traveling by scooter and actually coming to do this job, like, which basically immediately sets him into, a nice middle class, very identifiable category for everybody. So these are a lot of subtle things that he did. And I think what his acting is very good because my thing to him was that don't be stern even when you're scolding. So even when he scolds Prasta, there's a softness to it, like, and that only he can bring because he has that in him. So he's a great actor. He's just being very modest actually today. Yeah.
It was so wonderful and so humorous. It was just such a delight. Totally.
What do you think of this character, the Shweta character, who's always on social media? Or
yeah.
So let me ask this: the other two primary actors, how did you go about getting them as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as far as Shweta's story goes, is that I actually she had once come to my house with a writer friend of hers, and that Shweta is already is a big actress in India. Her film has gone to Cannes, and she's pretty popular in the independent. She's really done very strong and solid role. And I was like, why is this actress in my house? Like, because I was like literally still a struggling director, so like big actress in my house, and she was just discussing ideas with me, and I found her super intelligent, very intelligent. And trust me, for a sci-fi to look convincing, the actors have to really believe in the setting. Like, even for Nandu Madhavji or Shweta and Vikrant, they really believed in the whole story, like, you know, and they believed in they understood the philosophies of the story, and they could convey it because they are the ones who are carrying the story. You know, I mean, this whole set could have been built with paper, but I know Vikrant and Shweta are such solid actors that they would have made you feel convinced about it, like, you know, because their conviction was so strong. So I wanted someone like Shweta on board. In fact, when I first drafted the script, the name of the character I wrote as Shweta because I wanted to woo her to do my film.
Cool.
So yeah, so she read the script and she quite liked it, so she came on board, and we were looking for male character. And you know, Vikrant himself has had a very long journey. He's been working for around 12 years. He's doing, you know, he did TV for a very long time, and he was very popular in TV. He left all that, again reinvented himself for cinema. So he started doing smaller roles in big films. But when we saw it as, you know, creators, we used to feel like, who is this like very good looking guy and very good actor, like, you know, doing the smaller roles, because he obviously, his skill set from his performance, he looked much better than, like, you know, for the roles he was doing. And then he also, obviously everybody else started noticing this. He was already on his track to being a superstar, so we felt that, like, you know, probably he will, you know, I mean, I know that he's going to be a superstar of India. So when so Shweta and Vikrant were working on a TV serial, or not in a TV series called Mirzapur, which is on Amazon Prime and which is actually very popular in India. Like, it's a very hot. So they were shooting for it at the same time, and Shweta suggested, "Do you want to talk to Vikrant?" Then I said, "Yeah, but will he do it? Because it's such a unusual story." She said, "Let's try." So we had a dinner together. That's a very the famous dinner. So where Shweta and Vikrant were there, that was the first meeting. First 20 minutes, I think Shweta's conviction was so strong, and I think Vikrant said yes. I said, "Vikrant, you haven't read the script." He said, No, I think you know, I'll do it because it's something new, and he wanted to try it out. So it was his enthusiasm.
So is that what happened actually? Because it seems like Vikrant character, you know, he's towards the end of his career. So I, you know, assumed he would be older, or is that?
No, he's actually he's younger. He's much younger than both me and Shweta. He's a very young guy.
No, I mean the character he plays. Okay. The character he plays towards the end of his career. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But he looks young.
He retires.
He retires. Yeah, he works now. Yeah. He's doing a lot of things. He's getting He's doing 3 films on Netflix. Like, after my film, 2 more films of his are coming. He's a Netflix star. He's a new Netflix star. Yeah.
Wow. So when you wrote the character, were you picturing an older actor, or were you picturing a young actor that doesn't age because he's a Raksha? Okay.
Actually, when I was writing the character, I was picturing Shah Rukh Khan.
Well, yeah, another guy that doesn't age. But...
Yeah, that's because, and I'll tell you the reason behind it. A lot of us independent filmmakers write characters with, you know, let my worst case, my friend will do it. You know, with that thought, you write it. So, but the character also starts becoming small. But I wanted a character who I can see as superstar when I'm writing, because, you know, I mean, that's what was my thought, that let me at least see the film with a superstar in my head, and I'll get someone like a superstar himself, or someone who will be superstar very soon. Like, you know, that was my mindset, because otherwise it's very easy for me to think that, okay, I have few acting friends, and, you know, they will, and then the role starts becoming smaller, because in my head the person is like that, right? He's my friend, like, you know. So if I'm in awe with the character, maybe I write it like that. Just something I did. Yeah.
Wow.
Good
planning. Good planning. That's good planning already.
So we have a new thing going on, right? The spaceship, and Nandu's thing got turned. That's happened in his
I'm not getting.
He's in zero gravity.
Zero gravity.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really neat. Wow, that's amazing. Just this here's the scene from an interior of the ship. That's in between the transition room, I think, when they come in. And
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So Nandi, can you talk to us about what it was like to be directed by Arati? Or, you know, obviously you've been directed by a lot of great directors over time. So someone that comes with a fresh outlook, former engineer from Microsoft and in film school. So what was that like? And, how is that advantageous to the film to have someone with fresh eyes? Nandu?
That question was for you, Nandu.
Sir, Nandu sir, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
No.
Can you hear us, sir?
Yeah, Nandu. So actually, I'll type the question in the chat, so you can see it even if you can't hear us. So.
So, Arati, while we're waiting for this, how many interviews have you guys done so far?
I'm doing like the day before the 15 interviews per day.
Wow. Awesome.
So there is someone who sent me a message and that, like, these are the questions, can you just record and send me? Then I said for their website, and I'm not being able to do it for 2 days. And they said, it will just take you 15 minutes. But I said, I'm just not being able to get to it because, you're already doing live interviews. So to record and send, so I have to do it today. So I've just, yeah. So, but yeah, so we are getting those kind of requests also when the blogger says that, these are the questions, just record and.
Oh.
And I'm interacting with everyone because, I've really been, all this time I was making science fiction in isolation, and I was making short films and in my, releasing it in my bubble of friends, and they would like it. In fact, the top comments on our videos had always been like, I can't believe this only has 10,000 views. I can't believe, they used to feel that. And so, but that was my circle, and this is the first time I just realized that Netflix is Netflix, because not just it has gone internationally, but it has gone to pockets in India, which I had no access to till before this.
Wow.
And those kids are writing in. There's some really even senior people are writing it. There's one old man who wrote me such a lovely message that about the philosophy of life and all. And I want to answer as much as possible to every one of them, because I was waiting for this connection for so long. So I just hugely value it. And I know everything in life is temporary. I mean, I'm old enough to know that everything is we are a hit now, then tomorrow some other film will come. But right now, I just want to enjoy the beauty of this connection, because everything, as the film says, that it's fleeting, but it doesn't disappear forever. So yeah. So that's what it is.
So as far as the regions are concerned, you mentioned something earlier at the beginning of the interview, how India is in different regions or has different pockets. Can you explain those dynamics? What makes them so different?
Yeah, so basically India itself has a lot of states, and so there's north of India. Of course, you have north, south, east, west, but within that there are 26 states, and each of them have their own language and own culture, own way of living. Even their names are different. So one of the things that Indians love in our film is the nomenclature, the name Prasta, the name Yuvishka, Nitigya. It's actually the roots are derived from the names of actual Rakshasas, and the inspiration of that came from, because if you go to Bengal, where the names of girls are very different than people from South or people from, Maharashtra, these are all different state names. So every region has, so for me to just go pan India, and to, because my film has become very hit in Bengal, because I have seen so many Bengali bloggers, and I was not understanding much. Then one of my crew members is Bengali, so he translated it for me, that what they are talking about in the film and what they are liking about it. So which is nice that people, there was somebody speaking in south of India, which is a very different language again from my language, and they are blogging about the film. So it is, and it's a Hindi film, it's a different language film, and India is really, the population of young crowd is huge. The college kids are there. I mean, India is a very young country. The average age is 25, right?
Are you saying that you won't understand, you cannot understand the language someone's speaking in the South?
Yes. we have, I wouldn't know the right number, but I'm pretty sure we have at least 10 to 12 different languages that like people really speak. In fact, there are a lot of us friends, like, I live in Maharashtra, but I don't know Marathi so well, like the local language here. Like, so it's like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Though
some
I'm a
serious,
Marathi.
serious
Yeah.
dynamics over there.
Yeah.
So what's been the biggest surprise then from the reception you've gotten? Obviously, you probably would have expected, people talking about space and, and be inspired by that. But what was unexpected about what's happened so far?
I think there was one very beautiful video. There are two videos I liked. One was made by a very young girl. Like, she said the 6 hidden meanings in cargo. And she paused and took those videos, and she said that this means that life is nothing permanent. This means this. So I just loved that she was connecting at the philosophical level and making those videos. I thought it was like, I think that was that time, when you see a video and you start crying, oh my God, like they connected like that. So that was beautiful. Yeah, and there was some person, so in India also we are used to this young crowd, right? We are MTV generation, so we're used to a certain pace. Also, this film is in theatrical, because maybe also I'm a film school student. It's a better theatrical experience than it's a TV experience, which is a learning from me, which I'm also realizing as I'm watching the film in this medium. So a lot of people have complaints on the pace of the film, and so I saw a few people writing that, hey, is it slow paced? I found this, and then there were 2-3 people that like then don't even get into watching 2000 Space Odyssey, because space films need to have this space. So people are fighting for even the flaws of the film. Yeah, thank you so much, Rita. So there are actually 20 plus languages and over 500 dialects in India. So that's the truth. Yeah. So we are a very rich country that way. Yeah. So
yeah, it's great you were able to connect with all your fans.
Yeah, people. Yeah. And I feel that it will be nice because all these kids, like, this is a generation that actually grew up in, sci-fi films from the West. So they will make such cool sci-fi. I can't wait for the sci-fi for this generation to make, like, the young kids. Because if they are connecting the philosophies, they're seeing films as a medium, not just for entertainment, but vehicles for discussing your inner thoughts, which you don't discuss with anyone. Then, like, what more can you want? Like, yeah.
So, I have only one question myself, and you don't have to answer it, but I'm just very curious about what's next for Cargo and Netflix. Is this a long-term relationship? How are they? Have they said anything since it started? Since it's been going worldwide, have they said anything about it to you?
No, not yet. We haven't. Actually, I think none of us expected this to be received so well, because it's generally an experimental thing. So, even I didn't expect. Like, we used to. I thought that if it will come on Netflix, I'd already had list of WhatsApp groups of my friends to tell, hey, now my film is finally on Netflix. Please see, like, But I think Netflix automatically is such a broad platform that I didn't envision the power of having a platform like this, like, but yeah, we haven't spoken anything about next steps with Cargo. As of now, we are just, promoting this and, making sure that more people see it, taking in all the feedback.
They'll be in touch to talk. They'll definitely give you a very long brief on how the film is doing. I'm going to
some of the people on the
I knew the film was going to do well. Okay, we see a lot of sci-fi films here under this house, and we see several hundred a year. And when this dropped on my desk, and I sent it out to the viewers, I got phone calls back immediately in the first day. Okay, of how amazing this film is. People watched it multiple times. I just watched it again last night. Okay, so I think you're going to have a serious fan base for the foreseeable future with your film.
Thank you so much. Actually, and this gives me strength, because a lot of my stories are pretty quirky as well. And I was thinking, in fact, honestly speaking, I'll tell you, this December, I was thinking, okay, maybe let me just write a thriller, maybe let me just write this, and but sci-fi comes very naturally to me. But it's tough to push something that's different. But this film gives me, if it gives me power to make one more film like this, that's all I want at this stage. Like, just at least my next film starts. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like this could win a lot of, you obviously have won awards from us, but it seems like you could win a lot of, like really big awards this year. So, I mean, right now we actually have people watching from, we talked about this earlier, before the live stream started, but we invited people from Disney India, UTV, and, they're obviously very involved in our Indian film festivals in the US, and they release films in the US as well. So I think, yeah, maybe a theater release in time for the awards ceremonies would be pretty interesting.
I'd love to see it on the big screen. It would be luxurious.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen a big screen either. So our film festival copy was online as well. So.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, remember us, Arti, when you're.
No, come on, you guys are my core team. No, I remember. See, I'll tell you what. The thing is, the advantage is I got late success, so I'll be very grounded, But the thing
you're
is,
the next Parasite, right? You'll be coming up like 7 times in a row on the Oscar stage.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
It's so kind just to say that. But I just want to. I think there was a lovely Arthur C. Clarke quote that I was just reading yesterday night. That only thing permanent in life is, learning and loving. Those are the two things that are permanent. Everything else is transient. So I want to stick to that. In fact, the first thing I was telling my team, because we didn't even expect it to be Netflix #1 in India. Just the first day that it was out, we were feeling we were in cloud nine. We thought that's such a big success that we got on Netflix, And in that only I was giving lectures that, sincerity and hard work is the most important thing, and now it has gone this way. But we want to stick to our core values, because I know that's what got us here. And there's a lovely thing, my production designer, because I was congratulating him, on something. And he said that, Arti, sometimes we have a lot of budget, but if the team doesn't have love and passion, the budget goes to waste. So even though you had less money, we did a good job because we were doing it with so much passion and attention to detail. And so I realized that that's the strength, and that we should not leave. You should not do films for the sake of it, but for the love and passion for it. So I think that I'll stick to. So that's why if I want to stick to my principles, I know that there'll be struggle, will be on. Let's not go away. But it's nice to see at least one broad success always. Yeah.
And if you remember when in our first conversation, when I called you up about the film being selected, if you remember, I mentioned that to me, Misi Fee sees a couple films, some inspiration from other films when one watches this, and I see a little bit from the movie Moon, a bit from A Space Odyssey 2001, and especially Space 1999. They're all interwoven in there, and I think that they're all retro style. They're all retro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen Troy this happy about a movie before. Since 2015, I've seen a lot of movies that Troy is but I've never seen him blown away.
There's a few. We get, like I was saying, we get a couple gems. Every year we get at least one gem, and and this is in no way discounting your film, but
no.
Every year we get one. And this is one that made it to the top. You got a worldwide release. It speaks for itself. And you're the first from the festival to get a worldwide release like this on Netflix in the middle of a pandemic. So
we actually have another filmmaker here, Justine, who was on the festival with you.
Yeah.
Yes. And she did this short film, and she can introduce herself as well. But it's pretty, I think, unique to have two people from the same festival again. So it's pretty welcome, Justine, as well.
Thank you.
You're in good company.
Miami Sci-Fi alumni. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a lovely tag to have. Yeah, you should. Yeah, send us those brochures. We can print it and the stickers.
Yeah.
The laptop. Yeah.
Well, remember,
Yeah.
this film was about like robots, right? Artificial intelligence robots in a comedic type
Wow.
situation. And Arati was an engineer before this and quit engineering to go to film school. So I figured like she would be the person to perfectly enjoy your film about.
Thank you.
And women in sci-fi, you have to rule the world. You have to change the world. Please let's get in touch to share your short films with me, because I also run this underground thing in India called Short Film Window. Actually, you can go to shortfilmwindow.com, where we actually showcase a lot of international. The idea is to bring focus to short filmmakers with voices. And so, I mean, of course, we do it for a lot of Indian short filmmakers, but we also showcase really cool international short films.
Great.
Because, I want everyone to just see that like so much you can do with short film as a medium, but also, just give them hope that like you keep making your stories, like,
Thank you.
You should visit the site also, but like, yeah, we should definitely do a live Q&A.
I'd love to share my short with you.
Key, because it won't pass the Indian censors.
Yeah, it's the whole underground.
Really
There is no money in it, so I call it underground. Like, anyone who works is like, just give it. So we have just guest reviewers or things like that. But it's just a community of short filmmakers in India
Beautiful.
who are passionate about good quality short films. And yeah, our site is very good though. I mean, that's the one thing. Only thing that I did after leaving my job is work on a good site. This is the last.
So can you talk about the reception? You're talking about some of the perhaps pushback. Was there anything about the religious aspects or anything else about people think about the cultural aspects, either positive or negative?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know
That's
India can be very much a place like that, unfortunately, for the creatives.
No. Yeah, there were initially some apprehensions, and especially the marketing team and all. They were worried that if those questions come up, what are my answers for it? And I think the only thing was that, like, in our film is the only film actually which is actually giving tribute, because India, if there is a very people are very sensitive about their religious beliefs, and sometimes even if you don't intend to say something, they misinterpret it, and they might say, hey, are you making fun of the Rakshas because you don't know they are our gods, like, so they might feel hurt, their sentiments might feel hurt. But my thing was that, first of all, I myself I like follow a lot of religions. I respect all the religions. I myself believe in I'm a very that chaos theory person, but still, like, I have a lot of respect for every religion. And our film is actually a tribute to the mythologies of subcontinent. In fact, we are celebrating what we had, like, and I feel every generation should respect their past generation stories, but at the same time, there should be an element of disobedience. You should not always accept everything of your past. You should always, in a very constructive and beautiful way, because if there won't be any disobedience, you won't go forward in life. So I think that's also important. Am I frozen or am I there?
No,
because everybody else is frozen.
No,
Yeah.
we're just. Are you confused? But
Yeah.
yeah. Before you got on, we had a little discussion about what is a Raksha, and had to explain that it doesn't necessarily mean something bad or a devil from the Judeo-Christian type of view. It's so I think like maybe perhaps it's positive that way as well. We're not putting value judgments on every little thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Probably
that's true. So in India,
there was a nice sense of acceptance, and no matter from what walk of life the characters were from, and just a loving acceptance as they passed through. There was no judgment. There was sort of I really enjoyed the, I guess for lack of a better word, the vibe I got from it. Do you know what I mean? It felt very open.
Yes.
Yeah,
those were different. Is it correct to say that those were different cultures of people that were coming in the cargo? Were they like people from different cultures of India, different parts of India?
Since we shot it in Mumbai, a lot of people were, because we got actors from just Mumbai. They were most of them were Maharashtrian. In fact, that was one of the feedback of one of my post guy who saw the earlier case. Like, why everybody's Maharashtrian in this film? Like, because even Nandi sir has a Maharashtrian tinge, So, and I was like, what can we do? We had to just but Shweta and Vikrant, they are very typically North. Shweta is from Delhi, north of India. So she's a typically North Indian. So there are different things, but it looks, we are also so used to seeing that kind of diversity that we don't differentiate. We just take it in, essentially.
I think
we are differences.
The gentleman that had the thing on his head, turban or something, Mr. Kassar or KC.
Yes.
He was like one of the first ones.
Yeah.
The
magician. Yeah, the magician. He's a professor. He came in. So there are so many professors from my film school who have acted in this. Even the guy with the eye is a professor, and the time traveler is a professor. He's the screenwriting head of India. So he speaks also like.
Really? He was the guy that wanted to go back. He said he wanted to go back to do the same project.
Yes.
Special. She's asking, well, why don't you go back and do the same thing? He's explaining why he wants to do it. I just thought that was fantastic.
It was beautiful. Beautiful.
Better Call Saul.
It's a metaphor for my belief for sci-fi, because he stands for that belief that because we had so much struggle making sci-fi, and I used to joke that even if I die trying to make sci-fi, I'll come back and I'll try making sci-fi again. So he's a metaphor for that belief. That's why, and everybody said that we just having too many cargos. His cargo we should remove. But I was like, no, this cargo I don't want, because every time I would see, especially not so much here, but I would see that in theater and I would start crying for that. That okay, fine, I managed to say that on screen. But so I never edited it out. So yeah, I mean that was a feedback that everybody used to give me, that you're too close to everything in the film, so you don't want to remove anything. But I was like, yeah, it's first film. No, I don't know if anybody will see it or not. Let it just be for me. Like, I'm gonna see it. So
can you go into your writing process? Like, how did you come up with the idea and then put it to paper? And then what were the revisions, right? Like was it originally set in space?
So there's a very interesting backstory behind it. One sec, I think I'm losing connection. Am I clear?
You're frozen now. Oh, now you're back.
Because I just jumped Wi-Fi to a slower Wi-Fi, but if I switch, then I might go off. So I just probably stay in this slower Wi-Fi.
Sure.
Oh, am I clear? Because everything is frozen for me.
Yeah, you're frozen, but we can hear you fine. That's fine. We can hear you.
So so basically, my thing was that the story, the idea for the story was based on the resources that were available to me. I had a studio for me, so for some reason I knew that is going to be a spaceship. I don't know why I was stuck in my head.
Oh.
I think if she comes back, we should tell her to turn her video off. That'll probably save bandwidth. But
she'll switch back to she'll switch back to Wi-Fi. See, there we go. See?
Yeah. I'm back.
Yeah.
Now we're going back in.
Yeah. So the idea was based on the resources. So I had a studio. So for some reason, I knew that I was gonna make a spaceship on it. So I don't know why, but it had to be a spaceship. But the first story that I was writing for it was a crazy intergalactic superhero story with 4 or 5 species. It was a superheroes with existential angst. So I thought my superheroes will only have existential angst as the biggest villain and nothing else. So it was a very that kind of piece, and I actually worked very hard on it. I remember I used to get up. I have a small baby, so that time she was 1 year old. So I used to get up at 4 a.m, write, and but I have the core team, and they used to say, "Aarti, it's nice, but do you really think you can make it in the budgets that we might probably have?" I said, "Yeah, we'll make it. Don't worry. Don't care. We'll make it." But then, of course, the feedback starts playing in your head, and there's a truth in that feedback. That how can you make a superhero film as with so many actors and 3 species and all that? So then I thought, okay, let me just stick to one species and tell their story. So and at the same time, I was also realizing that I want to make it super Indian. That I should not completely alienate people from sci-fi by making something that's super obscure. Like, it has to. No, I thought that people would receive that film. Like, I never thought that. But I thought I should still choose a species that they will really identify with. And then I thought that let's research what's the species in Indian subcontinent itself. And Rakshas in general are species like that because they are shape-shifting humans. Like, that everything that you see in the film, that where she says that the shape that the they're part of our everyday mythology, like it's part of our collective consciousness. So I said, why not make a story with that species, and anyways, yeah, so that was the form of it. And as far as the philosophy of it was that I've always been very attracted to all the creation myths and afterlife myths of every civilization, whether it's India, China, or Africa. They're very fascinating because they helps us make sense of who we are and what we want to do, in general. So I thought, why not come up with an afterlife myth and upgrade them? Every generation throws. Like, I'm sure that story of Yamaraj, which the myth or Indian myth that we're based on, that's the 1,000-year-old myth. I'm sure someone wrote it at that time, and that was now from our generation. We have to write a myth for next 100,000 generation. So I saw it like that when I was writing it. Like, yeah. Let's see. I hope I can.
Yeah, sounds like you got it totally under control.
Yeah.
Wow. So I wish we could have a clip. It's one thing that I forgot to ask you. We had the trailers, of course, and we got a couple of shots. But are you okay with showing a little clip from the film? Do you have anything like that you might want to show?
I don't have right now, but if you have Netflix, you can show any. I would love to show that TED Talk scene, because that explains the mythology. Yeah.
What scene are you talking about?
It's just in the beginning of the film. I think it's the minute 5 or minute 6.
I can do that, right?
Yeah. Through Netflix, you can do that, right? Yeah.
Let's see. When is this? You said what part of the movie?
I think it would be 6th minute or 10th. I think 10th minute the girl comes. 6th or 7th minute, yeah.
6 or 7 minutes in?
Yeah.
Oh,
after the magician scene.
After the magician?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on, here it comes.
Yeah.
Folks, you're going to get a real treat. Here comes another one.
Yeah, we normally can't do this, but the filmmaker's letting us early.
Here comes another treat now. Hold on. Let's, how do I bring, let's see.
If Netflix calls, we're going to tell them that you said it was okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Is this it?
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Thank you. Post-death transition services. प्राचीन समय में हम राक्षसों की क्या इमेज थी? ये इंसान जब भी मूड होता था सैर पर निकलते थे और कोई मरा हुआ इंसान मिलता तो उसकी आत्मा को ट्रांजिशन करते थे। उनको स्कैवेंजर्स कहा जाता था। इस छोटी सी फैक्ट्री में मेरे स्वर्गीय दादाजी ने पोस्ट डेथ ट्रांजिशन सर्विसेज का विजन रखा और हमने आत्माओं को कंप्यूटर्स पर स्टोर करना शुरू किया। 15 साल की कमरतोड़ मेहनत के बाद राक्षस मनुष्य पीस ट्रीटी हमने साइन की। हमने लॉन्च किया, 6 एस्ट्रोनॉट्स को भेजा। आज हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी दुनिया भर में हमारे हेडक्वार्टर्स हैं और आप देख सकते हैं राक्षसों की इमेज में पॉजिटिव बदलाव आया है। अगर आप इस मूवमेंट का हिस्सा बनना चाहते हैं तो प्लीज राइट टू अस at careers@pdts.gov. Let's make afterlives better. Are you okay?
आप अशोक को बुलाएंगे?
जी?
अशोक
अशोक
मेरा बेटा।
मैंने यूज भी नहीं किया।
Yeah,
कर रहा हूँ तो ये
I think we can.
कितने दिनों से गया तो नहीं था?
Is that it?
नहीं गिरा था।
Yes. So that image of Rakshas, the image of the demon, they show, it's a very popular image in India. Like, they say that if you're dying, then he's coming. It's a very popular image.
Wow.
So it's not something that, I mean, it is fresh for you guys, but for us, it's an everyday image. So that's why it has, I think maybe, people are excited about the film, yeah. And in fact, like the person who says this TED Talk is a director called Hansal Mehta, So he came in with the help of Shlok, one of the producers of the film. So, and every person who comes in is actually a crew member mostly, They are the people with the monitor are the lightmen. The guys who are talking are actually the cameramen because we had no budgets for extras. And but I wanted a meaning for everything. Like the girl who cries is a sister of Zen, who's like partner. So like that, how the film came together. Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah,
He's wearing like the Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
yeah.
As if it's a tech startup and pitching.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
We needed true. Yeah, no, we needed an educated looking guy actually, and a very serious, the person who is very serious about his job kind of guy. So it's like we just got a director.
And then does that email address actually work? The careers at pdts.gov?
No, but I think I should immediately go and set it up and see the kind of
Yes.
I'm getting. That's
Probably,
a good idea.
probably someone else's thing. It seems like
Yeah.
That was United States. So you're probably you're emailing some guy in North Dakota or something right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. No, that's fantastic. Wow. So special. Arati, you've been very generous with your time with us, and we really appreciate it.
Same to you guys. I've been meaning to meet Praveen because I had such a lovely conversation with you guys. So I always took it away, like, such a nice, warm feeling. Also, the questions were very lovely, like, so.
Yes. Not to give it away, but because we don't know if it's going to happen, but if we didn't have the pandemic, we were hoping that you were going to come. Because if you remember, you were trying to come for our event as well as for South by Southwest, because it was the same week. Yeah. And we had a heck of a party that we were going to put together. A heck of a party.
So you're actually, it's a two-way good luck, Arati, where, like after your several interviews with us, we were able to get William Shatner, Captain Kirk, actually, for a very long interview. And a lot of the same questions we asked him were actually similar to the ideas that we talked to you about, like reincarnation, India. And I'll post it on, I'll pin it to YouTube, my Twitter again. It's a pinned tweet, but we talked about basically, I didn't use the name of your film, but a lot of the same concepts about like reincarnation, the technology behind it. And he really got into it. Like he talked about things he's never talked about publicly before, about his time in India. He actually meditated on the river banks and went to different temples in India. Stuff he's never talked about. And I was just like repeating stuff that you and I had talked about earlier. So it became pretty interesting little conversation to talk to Captain Cook about India and reincarnation.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah.
Okay. Well, folks out there, if you don't have any more questions for us, we're going to wrap it up. Justine, do you have any more questions?
I'm just excited to find out what you're going to do next. It sounds like you've got a lot of films in that you want to make, and that's really exciting. I look forward to it. Is there something that you're beginning soon?
Yes. No, I've just written, so I'm in the giving it final touches. But likewise, I'm very excited to see what all you're going to make, because seeing a female sci-fi director gives me so much hope, so much joy. I cannot even tell.
Thank you.
So I'm very excited about what you're going to do. Really excited.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a good time to knock on the doors of the money buckets over there and say, hey, you might as well do it now while it's still cheap.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Well, Netflix Canada did have a call out to send in our pitches, so I sent to that. Waiting to hear on that. Mm-hmm.
Justine's in Canada, so she watched a film from Netflix Canada.
Yeah, Netflix Canada over here.
Mm-hmm. Yay. So happy.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
All right, well, listen, once again, thank you for being part of us. You're the alumni. You're in the alumni. You're one of us. And we're going to keep banging on your door.
I should take the picture. We should all do it.
Yeah. Let me get
I thought that was some CGI. I never thought it was a real standing. Yeah, but that's so cool.
Nerds.
Keep please send updates on a regular basis. Of course, we're going to check in with you whenever we can, and all the best, and make the best of it. Make the best of this ride. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's just going to keep going, and interview.
Yes.
You're doing a really good thing too, because you're keeping people home. You're keeping people off the streets watching.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks for such a lovely interview. Thank you. Yeah, bye. Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Jay.
मतलब ये स्वर्ग है, कोई स्वर्ग कोई नर्क नहीं होता है सर, यहाँ पे सभी लोग आते हैं। Extraction complete. मैं प्रहस्त पोस्ट डेथ सर्विसेज का राक्षस आपका पुष्पक 634A में स्वागत करता हूं। अभी आप नेक्स्ट लाइफ में ट्रांजिशन के लिए तैयार हैं, आप मेरे साथ आ सकते हैं।
Wow, that was special, guys. That was really special. Like I mentioned it to my buddy, who sadly she's not with us today. Not sadly, because it is a big holiday for Leslie. But Leslie and I and Brooklyn and I, we spoke quite a bit about this film when it first came on our desk, and there were just nothing but great, wonderful comments from them, because they're excellent reviewers of the film. And it's just a very special, warm feeling that you're recognized by other by filmmakers.
Yeah,
they didn't have to send it here, but it got to us.
Yeah.
And, we actually received the film first before anybody else.
Awesome.
How did you find our festival?
Yeah. So it's another one of those moments where it's like, wow, there's a reason why we're doing this.
There is, and thanks for bringing me onto this. This is really special.
Yeah, there's a reason why the festival's here, a reason why it exists.
So actually, the filmmakers and actresses from the last South Asian from 2015, I think, are also watching as well.
Cool.
Who's watching?
Farouk and Hina.
You're kidding.
Yeah, they're on Facebook. So it's.
How do you know he's watching?
Well, the RCP, so maybe they'll watch the replay. We can't tell exactly who's watching right now.
Yeah, they'll watch the replay if anything. But Farouk, if you're out there, you and your team, reach out to us. We'll be happy to bring you on the show and talk a bit. Talk even about your own film and whatever else you're doing. Farouk, they were the first film from India, first fantasy film. They weren't. It's a sci-fi film, but it was a short. And they won the Beacon. They won the Beacon Award for first film from India to come to the festival.
And it was a pretty similar journey. Basically, he was a film student at USC, and this was his final project. And he did the whole thing as a set on campus, on a spaceship set, because that's what you can do in one studio. So, he did a short instead of a feature. But he hired local actors from the Indian American actors who happened to be around downtown LA area. So a lot of their friends. So.
It was done very well. It was like a Twilight Zone. It reminded me of the Twilight Zone, the way it's the premise of the film. Cool. Very good, very, very good film. And if you recall, the film was shot, I think, in 12 hours, something like that. It was shot in a very, very small amount of time because something happened with the camera or something, and they didn't have anything that the equipment they needed. They didn't have it, so they had to do everything within this tiny fraction of time.
Incredible!
It's amazing they were able to pull it off.
But the difference was, he was at USC, so they had a massive budget compared to what you think a short film is. Yeah. Like, sure, his budget was similar for short to what this whole cargo feature was, or even more. So, I guess it's good to be at USC.
and that was our first WhatsApp call. We were doing an award ceremony. It was during the award ceremony, and I reached out to him through a messaging prior, and I said, "Look, the awards are coming out, and we're going to contact you." He's like, "What?" I said, "You have WhatsApp, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to call you when I'm on stage." So I had the microphone, over my phone, and we're talking, and people are in the audience are asking questions all directly from India. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and I didn't realize my friends were in the movie, because this is when you and I had just first started meeting, and I was just in the audience. So while he was on the call, like, I was texting each time I saw someone on the screen, I'd be like down trying to hide the glare from the phone, not disturb anyone, testing different friends. And for people I didn't understand until the very end, like the credits, because they're in makeup, and basically when someone's in the makeup, you don't really know until you see the credits who they are. So it's pretty interesting to see.
Yeah. All right, well, guys. Well, this was a good one. This was real nice. We earned 1 hour and 43 minutes. Can you imagine that?
Well,
it just flew by.
Minus 20 because we were riffing before they got
Yeah, and we've got people from Facebook. We got viewers. Oh wow, we've got viewers across the spectrum. So we have people from YouTube, people from Twitch, people from Facebook, and Periscope on Twitter. So everybody checked in. Everybody.
Great.
Yeah. All right. Well, just to let you know, next week, folks. Next week we'll be meeting with the absolutely famous, hilarious New Zealand sci-fi comedy that won Best Comedy. It's one of the funniest films I've ever seen, and it's called "This Paper Mache Boulder Is Really Heavy."
Great title.
It's a bizarre story of nerds. Sounds familiar? Who go to a science fiction conference, and they go to watch a movie, and the movie is in black and white of this weird looking retro stuff going on, looks like out of Flash Gordon, and somehow they get thrown into that movie. Them living in this bizarre universe, and
awesome,
trying to figure out how to get back to home, how to get home. It's hilarious.
I want to see it.
White.
Yeah,
It's
I think that's with what we do in Shadows being such a hot show right now. It's all New Zealand. All the New Zealand. They got the good. Well, they always had, but you know.
Yeah, great films out of New Zealand. I want to see that. That's great. You're screening it next week, Troy?
It's already up for viewing
Oh, great.
right now.
I'll tune in. Great.
If you just go to the our Sci-Fi Club, New Horizons Club page on the website, it's the first one on the left.
Great. I'll check it out.
They're actually letting people watch the movie for free right now.
Wonderful.
So, you don't even have to pay, which I'm like, you don't have to pay, bro. You sure you want to do that? It's a good film.
Right? Totally.
That's what's happening right now. So get it while you can. It's about an hour and a half, maybe a little more.
Great.
But it's matter of fact, you were there, Prop, when we showed that film. That was our first year. That was our first year meeting you there at the festival.
The New Zealand.
That's when it screened at the venue.
Yeah, it sounded familiar. Yeah, that's why.
There's a venue where the festival was blessed, and that's where you jumped on stage, and that's where it's where it all happened. That was the year that Paper Mache played, and people laughed so hard. Some people even fell out of their chairs.
Awesome.
People were laughing at the laughter. It was that funny.
Can't wait.
They were just laughing at the laughter. It was just wacky, crazy, very well put together retro sci-fi.
Yeah, I think Christine is going to figure this out eventually, but every season of this festival is unlike every previous season. Like 2015 was like on stage, everything, and whether people coming down, calling your name, you get the award type thing, typical. And then another season where like dressed up as Stormtrooper, and we ambushed the guy from ILM, give him a Yoda award. And we're in a library type bar type thing, and obviously with the COVID's online, and every year it's a totally different experience. And the year before we're kind of out of character. We're in a super high end theater, like seriously, like felt like we're in a luxury hotel compared to where we started. It was a totally different experience, and realized it was kind of it was pretty interesting. Every year, it's a totally different experience.
That's right.
It's so hard to get, one of the challenges in South Florida, just as Arati says, the challenge is making a sci-fi film. The challenges of science fiction in South Florida are there as well. They give away, first of all, in South Florida, they always give away stuff. Stuff's always given away for free because they want to sell you the liquor. So they get you in the room to sell you the liquor. That's typically the model. We really can't do that because we don't have the 5,000 people show up. So we've been experimenting all these different ways to try to get people in. But now that due to the fact that everybody's going to have to social distance, maybe it's a good thing that we have such low attendance.
I think that gave us an opportunity.
1,000.
We would have experimented with the tech angle, the AR, VR tracks, and other things we experimented with unless we had to.
Yeah. So I can tell you this much. There's something that the theme this year is going to surprise everybody. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but we have a different theme, a very different theme this year.
Cool.
And it's going to surprise everybody.
Great. Exciting.
And I think it's timely. So,
when will you announce it?
Well, I need to announce it soon so that people can absorb it, The timing is good for it, but between now and October, I'll announce the theme.
Great.
You have the date set up already for next year?
Pardon?
You have the dates already in mind for next year?
It's February. The festival is set for February, the second week of February, I think. We may move it up or down. I'm not sure. We may move it just to make sure that other festivals don't overlap. We don't know how the COVID thing is going to look. But in all honesty, if there isn't a vaccine, who's going to want to come to the festival? Who's going to want to come if there's no vaccine? Who's going to want to go out? I don't know. It's too early to tell. we won't really know until I think November.
Mhm.
To be honest, I would not. I would rather wait until.
Well, just like last year, the Super Bowl is in Florida again this year, so we might get some residual attendance, people flying in anyway. Not in Miami, but in Tampa. But
Oh, it's going to be in Tampa, or is it going to be in Miami?
well, last year was Miami. This year it's going to be Tampa. But when we did Indian film festivals in Tampa, people would, they're coming to see, Florida, right? So they'd always take a side trip to Miami at some point of
Yeah, that's true.
festivals, the Indian festivals in
Until they see how far they got to drive. The state's that big. Yeah, it takes.
Yeah, I think it looks so short on the map, but
Right.
you don't realize you have to go across the Everglades, so it's like
Right.
double the distance as if you just
3 hours this way and 2 hours this way.
almost across Everglades.
Well, I look forward to when we can all gather. I'll fly down for another festival.
Well, we'll
That'd be
definitely keep those plans coming, because there are plans for what's happening after COVID. So, that's
Cool.
where we are right now.
Yeah, when you
Great.
come down, Christine, we'll definitely do. We have a robotics meetup with actually
Oh, cool.
dogs and other thing. We have a robotics lab, so we'll do a special. I mean, we have to be a surprise because we have to ambush you on stage. So you prepare, our robot dogs, malfunction a lot.
Oh no!
Where's
Terrifying.
they could be dangerous.
I love a good ambush. Bring it on.
Wow. Well, guys, we're at the point now where I'm going to, while we talk, I'm just going to show these trailers
Great.
for our sponsors.
I'm a little overwhelmed. We make a lot of cool stuff here.
Red Giant is an awesome software package.
It can be hard to know what you're looking at if you've not used it before. So maybe let's dial it back a bit and see what each of these do. Wow, I'm a little underwhelmed now. Yeah. There we go. Now I'm whelmed. First, we have TrapCut Suite, our set of tools for motion graphics and Adobe After Effects, which you can use to make 3D particle effects like these, or these, or like all this. Magic Bullet is our suite of tools for color correction, finishing, and film looks. Why do I need color correction? Well, this is what your footage looks like straight out of the camera. Ew, gross. Color correction is important. And we made the tools in Magic Bullet Suite because we know that. And we're really nice. It has presets, and it's packed with powerful controls to let you dial in the colors to make them look the way you want. Red Giant Universe is a collection of effects and transitions for editors and motion graphics artists. This is where we put lots of cool stuff that you're always wishing you had. Old film and VHS, holograms, ghost stuff, usually text business, sparkle magic, and it's all GPU accelerated. So
Everything a sci-fi filmmaker will want.
Need it. Gotta have it.
Pluralized for syncing audio and video in seconds, or offload for backing up your footage on set. I'm not making any promises, but if you use Shooter Suite, your footage can look like this. Here's what it would look like without it. Where'd that green screen come from? All along. VFX Suite is a set of tools for keying, tracking, cleanup, and visual effects compositing right inside After Effects. That means it has tools for tracking things, adding things, displacing things, glowing things, reflecting things, blending all the things together into one beautiful thing with super comp, and more. It even allows you to get
Perfect.
by literally just pushing a button, like this.
Well done.
Mostly like that. It's actually way faster than we do it here. It also has No Light Factory, a lens flip generator from Industrial Light and Magic's John Miller. And speaking of name dropping, check out this cool stuff some of our rock star friends have made using our tools.
Look familiar?
You get the idea. The point is, Iron Man. So that should give you a better idea. We've got a little something for everyone. Even Iron Man. It's not really happening.
It's awesome. Did they give us an affiliate code to?
It Titler Pro.
Well, the winner gets that. Whoever the top winners get to choose, and that's one of the choices. Here's another one of the choices: New Blue, post effects.
Upgrades, enhanced customization, and over 500 exciting new templates. Titler Pro 7 works as fast as you do. The all-new intelligent caching renders titles in the background, reducing downtime and increasing productivity. Design sharing allows you to try out a variety of looks while keeping your title text intact, and even lets you make changes to a single.
They have awesome title effects.
That's great. Yeah.
One of the things they specialize in: post-production, live production, title
Not
effects.
only does Titler Pro 7 come with hundreds of new templates, but the Title Designer gives you an extensive suite of tools for creating your own professional, high-quality titles and animations, including text controls, 3D style effects, and lighting and camera options. And animated masks, Titler Pro 7 makes it easy to create and edit elaborate, elegant titles, all without ever leaving your editing software. Titler Pro 7 is more flexible than ever. The reworked elastic timeline allows you to instantly change the duration of any title in your video editing software without affecting its animations or playback speed. Load After Effects designs.
That's New Zealand.
Pro, changing text to images from a
I think that was New Zealand.
interface. The custom designs you create
If not, it was
Pro 7 are also fully compatible with users' Titler
Northwest
software,
British
allowing
Columbia.
you to utilize
Yeah, right. I know they look similar.
Yeah, they look very similar.
project, whatever your needs, Titler Pro 7 gives you the tools to take your videos to the next level. Learn more at newblueeffects.com today.
Cool stuff. Last one is Final Draft for our screenplay folks. The winners, the top 3 winners, first, second, third prize, receive a license to Final Draft.
Nice.
So,
And
yeah, is there a video for this? Or?
say it again.
Okay, so I thought you were going to play a video, but yeah, so something came up just yesterday. You know how we had the AI track last year?
Okay.
AI. So there's actually, the new GPT-3 AI is pretty much making the rounds right now for the tech community, where people can basically, you give a prompt and the AI will write a short story for you.
Oh, yeah.
So I was thinking maybe we could have an AI screenwriting track, right? Where basically it can be real time as well because it happens in real time. You have a little short segment where people have the AIs write screenplays and then we judge them. But also we can have like an improv class too, like an improv games where the AIs can also just do dialogue, right? So we have the AIs. We have the real actors on stage, but the one would be providing a dialogue to some of the actors as well. And improv works. You have to go with it. You can never say no. So when the AI goes into unicorn territory, the other actors have to also go into unicorn territory. But it's pretty fantastic. Yeah. So what I did was it's on video, so I'll send it to Arati.
Yeah, that's super, man.
Well, we took her IMDb description of Cargo, and we fed it to the AI, and just based upon the characters' names, it picked it did a bunch of Indian themed for the short story, like it talked about Himalayas and stuff, because it found the characters' names were Indian. So it's pretty advanced. So the AI yesterday did a mini version of Cargo type thing, but
great.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I like that idea. And do you want to? We just I have to bounce a few things off you about it, but I think that's something that we could definitely do.
Yeah, we filmed it yesterday, so I'll just send you it's all.
Yeah, I'd like to chat a little more about that.
Yeah. The other thing is, the red giant type thing, where it's pretty amazing. They're GPU enabled. Where Adobe Premiere just introduced that.
Adobe, all that stuff is GPU enabled now because it was forever to process. So it's about having a huge, giant, GPU card or multiple GPU cards.
Yeah, but Adobe didn't even support that till this year. It's amazing. All this time that we thought we were using GPUs, we weren't for Premiere. It was all CPU based rendering. but the new NVIDIA cards are coming out in a week or less than a week, so it's going to make a huge difference. I think a lot of and AMD is going to try to match it. So
Yeah,
a lot more VFX, I think, coming up in a lot of our films.
that's right. It just makes it even more powerful. That's right, for independent filmmakers.
Yeah. So maybe at one of the workshops we could do for the festival is for the sponsors, we could also have classes where we show them how to use these plugins that are sponsoring and do a little short videos and stuff.
I like that a lot.
Especially like Justine, right? She's everything. Her VFX are amazing.
I just wrote about it. Our VFX designer did all that. He was amazing. Yeah. Thank you. It was fun to imagine and then see it happen on the screen. It was just mind blowing.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be an amazing workshop or talk to have at the festival with your VFX, and it was like better than a lot of feature films, like what you did.
Thank you.
Definitely good stuff. Well, listen, guys, that's it for now. If you want to participate next week, it'll be a lot of fun. I promise we won't talk for 2 hours because I told them that we'd talk for only 30 minutes.
It's just nice to hang out with people.
No,
Friday night with filmmakers, right?
Yeah.
What really good is
it does. It's therapeutic.
I think for some of these calls, right? If we're not expecting like a massive audience from India or whatever, like if we do it more like regular Zoom call style or Google Meet style, where people rather than just in the chat, they can come on screen, and so that'd be more intimate. And I think, especially if it's a more book club type style,
That'd be great.
Yeah. I think so much interaction, someone can type in even wants to.
Sounds fun to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep me posted for next week. Yeah, sounds great. I'll check out the film.
I will. I'll send.
Paper mache is so heavy. This paper boulder mache is so heavy.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Be on the lookout for the email. I'll actually send it out tonight.
Great.
So everybody has plenty of time.
Cool.
All right.
Just have a good weekend.
That's it.
Talk soon. Bye.
Take care, guys. Au revoir.
Au revoir.